School isn't the only thing still being impacted by the pandemic. Despite the easing of travel restrictions, many Americans are still choosing not to visit Canada. New data from Statistics Canada shows car travel from the U.S. is still around half of pre-pandemic levels, while visitor numbers from the rest of the world are almost back to normal. This trend is having a particularly detrimental impact on border cities, which previously relied on U.S. tourism to keep businesses going and tax dollars flowing. So for more on these travel numbers, I want to bring in the Mayor of Niagara Falls, Ontario, Jim Diodati. Mayor, thank you for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me, Andrew.
So why do you think we're just not seeing as many Americans driving into Canada than we were pre-pandemic, about half?
Well, there's no doubt to any of us, it's one reason. It's the ArriveCan requirement at the border. You know, it's just put that extra layer of red tape, and some of the stories, the horror stories that Americans are taking back when they go and visit their family and their friends. And you know what they say? If you have a good experience, you'll tell your friend. If you have a bad experience, you'll tell 10 friends. And that's exactly what's happening. And here in Niagara Falls, we're the #1 leisure destination in Canada. We get 20 million visits per year, and we've been hit hard. And I can tell you right now, typically 25% of our visitation is from the US, and they represent 50% of the revenue. When that number's down to half, any business that you do that to, you're going to have a devastating effect. And that's coming on the heels of 2 years of being closed. So 40,000 people here in Niagara count on tourism to feed their families. So it's important that we do the right things, that we have the proper customer service. And Andrew, in the beginning, we all supported the ArriveCan. We thought it was a good idea to keep COVID out. Well, we know now from the medical professionals that COVID 99% is spread through the community. It doesn't come across the borders. So we're saying, why are you leaving this restriction in place? It's clogging the borders. It's killing tourism and hospitality. And it's having a negative effect on seniors that don't have the technology at their fingertips and won't cross anymore. So we're asking them, please, remove it at the very least. Make it voluntary.
So, you know, you say the ArriveCan, that's a prominent complaint, right, from travelers. Are there any other contributors, do you think?
No, that's it. I'll tell you right now, and we live in the border, and we can tell you a lot more than most could. And you know, I've had some people say, well, you know, maybe it's inflation. Well, inflation affects everybody. And I can tell you, domestic tourism is back to pre-pandemic numbers. So Canadians are coming back to Niagara Falls as they once did. The thing that's not happening is international and specifically American visitors. And I can tell you, I regularly talk and consult with professionals, politicians and mayors along the borders, both sides, congressmen, senators, MPs, MPPs, and business professionals as well, hotel association, travel and trade. Everyone says the exact same thing. And I can tell you empirically, I speak with people, I get the calls, I get the emails. I've never had so many calls and emails and complaints from people, and a lot of seniors saying to me, you know, I feel discriminated against. I'm willing to show my passport. I'm willing to show my vaccination status. I don't know how to use a smartphone. I don't own one, so I don't travel anymore. And they said the answer we were given was get your grandkids to do it for you. So a lot of people are offended, and as I say, they feel discriminated against. And a lot of tourists, they're a lot like water. They take the path of least resistance. And if they see there's going to be a lot of problems and backlogs, which there are, and I feel bad for our Canadian Border Services Agency staff, you know, rather than keeping guns and drugs and criminals out, their jobs become administrative and helping people try to download an app when a lot of them don't have their roaming, they don't have access to Wi-Fi, they're in their van, they drove here from somewhere with the family, they're completely unaware of this requirement, and it's just causing a lot of headaches for no reason. This is a self-inflicted problem.
And so I'm sure you've had discussions with the feds. What have they said to you when you've said to them, please drop this app?
Well, you know what, I'll tell you, when you talk to them on the side, they agree with you. Mm-hmm. And it's obvious this has to come from the top, and we're hoping that it does. And when I hear, you know, ministers say that this helps things, it makes it better, it keeps us safer, that's frustrating because we know that not to be the case. All it's doing is causing problems and congestion and delaying people's visits. And a lot of people, unfortunately, have made the conscious decision to bypass Canada. I've had people say it's easier to get to Europe than to come into Canada. And people have made that decision. And my concern is the long-term residual effect that people establish new patterns and new habits, and they find new places to go to, and they do bypass us. And that's horrible because it's something that we have well within our control. We've already lost this tourism season. It's too late to recover. I mean, we're already into September. We're asking the federal government, please do the right thing. And if you believe this is such a great program, then make it voluntary in the same way that Nexus is voluntary. And if it is good, we'll flock to get it. And if it's not, you'll know very quickly.